Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the BAM Builder Series. We're talking with key Solana architects and developers on why they believe BAM is the future of the network. Today, we're joined by Rashid from FlashTrade. Rashid, how are you?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're really excited to have you join us. So, to kick things off, can you tell the audience, who you are, what you're building on Solana, and what you're bringing to the ecosystem?
Yep. So I work on FlashTrade. It's a perpetual exchange built on top of Solana. It's a pool-to-peer system, which is unlike any other on Solana at this point. Just to kind of highlight features of it, we do instant settlements. We do instant fills, all of that cool stuff, unlike an order book. Features is we offer kind of the highest leverage that Solana currently has. It's 500x leverage. The amount of collateral that you want or need to use that 500x is just $1. So you can get exposure to $500 worth of any asset. We have a wide variety of assets to trade on Solana, from your traditional crypto assets to crude oil, to forex, to stocks, everything that you can imagine. And we are actively adding more assets as we go around. So that is flash trade in a nutshell, from our point.
Very impressive. I didn't know anybody on Solana was offering leverage like that, but real assets in particular, so cool.
Yep, yep. It's madness that we allow people to do. Yep.
Can only imagine. Well, let's get into that a little bit, actually. So, you offer a wide variety of assets. You offer, trying to offer incredibly fast settlement for users. When it comes to Solana market structure, when it comes to actually working, with the nitty gritty of the chain, what are some of the challenges that your project faces, and how does the architecture sort of get in the way of the vision of what you want to be offering?
So, given that we offer such high leverage, we want everything to be uh, landing as quickly as possible. The other thing that we, just to kind of put everything into context, it would be uh, given that we don't have order books, we settle everything on the Oracle price, and the Oracle that we use is Pith. In their latest integration, they've come out with something called Laser, which has essentially millisecond updates. And for us to offer that to the user, given as we use Laser on the UI and everywhere else that the user sees, we have to. The current problem with Solana is that the moment the user presses trade, or let's say long or short buttons, what happens is it takes a decent amount of time for us to get the confirmation, and by that time, the price that the user has seen or visualized, that price is no longer available to the user. And obviously, this is essentially slippage. But due to our kind of, even though Solana is fast from an institutional perspective, you could still consider Solana as slow, which is why something like if there's something that would allow us to land transactions as soon as they are sent, and in the same order that we want like it to still be sent into, given that we want to do Oracle updates as soon as the trader's transaction comes in, then that's when we want to give them the latest laser price. So that means that we give exactly what the user is looking at. There's no difference between there's no slippage at that point if we are able to give them that price. So that is kind of the main, I would say, pain point. Obviously, this that kind of then trickles down into, let's say, the user has to take profits or stop loss, or the liquidations and so on. What happens is if by the moment we have observed the price that the stake profit or stop loss is supposed to get executed at, and by the time we end up landing the same that transaction, and by the time it gets confirmed and all of that stuff, that price is no longer, the actual truth. So something that gives us finality, or at least a guarantee that we can land and we can order the transactions in a manner where the Oracle price updates and all that stuff goes in uh, essentially at the same time as the trades go in. That would give us the best UX and that would allow us to offer the best UX to the users. Now, that is something that we are currently struggling with. We have a lot of solutions, or at least the thoughts, but all of these are more of hacks, not solutions, I would say. What this does is, I mean, the hacks end up making it so that we have to introduce more components to FlashTrade rather than having it as a basic or a base level. Users would have to now kind of pay additional fees and so on and so forth, which would get reduced if we are able to, build, not build, but have the audit transactions kind of capability.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little bit more granularly because, I think you really hit on it. In order to compete with traditional finance architecture,
Yep.
you can't sort of have these Oracle update delays.
Mhm.
So, when you're looking at a system like BAM, how do you think that unlocks that ability to compete on that level? How to offer that liquidity? How to, give those features to your users?
In order to give an institutional feel, or in order to give a centralized exchange feel, um, the moment you click something, it happens, right? And that is where the whole centralized exchange field and all of this comes from. Uh, where I think BAM comes in is it essentially allows you to do that. It I know it kind of sounds like a all-in-one solution, the holy grail kind of thing, but I think it genuinely is. But as we were discussing before, even with a colleague of yours, uh, the I know that this is in the context, but the plugin solution that you guys have it would be a massive game changer. It would allow people to essentially have not white hat solutions, but uh, fully built out solutions which would get rid of any kind of malicious attacks as well. So if there are any things that you can order by, so for example, in our case, we would like to order everything by the Oracle update. The first thing on the top should be the Oracle update. Everything after that should be it can be anything that interacts with our program. So the moment we have that, that is when you're giving our users the best UX. So that is where we would go for.
I think that was a great breakdown of how the BAM architecture can sort of empower this
Yeah.
additional functionality for you guys. What would that actually mean, though? If you could offer this degree of service and speed and have this market structure, what do you think that could mean for the chain? What would that mean for trading volumes? What would that mean for your product?
I think the trading volumes would go out the window, right? Give it the moment you have the best UX is the moment you'll generate the most revenue and the most volume. Obviously, the fees and all of that stuff comes from making having more volume. So the moment you have that kind of capability built, that is when everything will start taking off. Uh, Even outside of FlashTrade, even other products would be able to leverage that. So overall, I would say everything would kind of scale up. Everything would be kind of have the best UX because of this. And then based on that, the fees generated and everything on that sort would just be astronomical. No, that's where I see this going towards.
I like that word. Whenever I hear astronomical, that tends to be a good thing. Um, really appreciate your time today. But before we sign off, do you, I think there's a lot of people who aren't necessarily in the weeds of market structure the same way you are.
Uh,
And so if you're just talking to a Solana founder who isn't as familiar with this stuff, is there, one sentence that you could give them or a quick overview of why they should care about BAM?
if you want users to have the best experience, bam, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, Rashid, really appreciate your time and looking forward. I didn't know we had 500x leverage on FlashTrade, so maybe a little later today I'll lose some money on gold futures. We'll see.
Well, make some money. Who knows?
Or make some. Hey, it has happened, not frequently, but it has happened.
I'm sure it will happen on FlashTrade.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Have a nice one.